They say to only bring what you can carry. So with the all-new 2025 Ford Expedition Tremor, bring a lot. Like 3 dirt bikes, a few tents, an entire crew ready to make memories. A panoramic 24-inch display, and the confidence to push your limits. The all-new 2025 Ford Expedition Tremor.
Always consult the owner's manual before off-road driving. Know your terrain and trail difficulty and use appropriate safety gear. Max payload varies based on accessories and vehicle configuration. See label on door jamb for carrying capacity of a specific vehicle. Always properly secure cargo.
Atheists, agnostics, long-haired weirdos, short-haired weirdos, vandals, hooligans.
The government, hug the government, love the government, hug the government, love the government, hug the
Hello, and welcome to The Politics Guys, a place for civil, rational, and reasoned discussion and debate on the day's issues. This is our bonus show of the week. I am Justin Holmes, Associate Professor of Political Science at the University of Northern Iowa, and I'm joined today by Ken Katkin, a Professor of Law at the Chase College of Law at Northern Kentucky University. How you doing, Ken?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm not bad myself. We've got kind of some things, of course, that didn't fit into the scope of the normal show or the regular weekly show. As always, there's sort of an overflow of political stuff going on, and certainly we can't touch everything, but this gives us a chance to get a little bit more. So I think we can go ahead and sort of jump in here. We have sort of two related things, I think. They are slightly different in terms of origin and actors and things, but sort of consistent principles and issues at stake. And that is both kind of Pam Bondi stepping up the investigation of the air quotes Russia hoax, as well as now calls to investigate former prosecutor Jack Smith. And so, again, this is sort of both of these would seem to be sort of Trump relitigating past elections, perhaps settling scores, etc. Ken, how about you highlight some of the issues that are happening here and legal issues and exposure that people might have, etc., if these things sort of pick up some steam, if they do pick up some steam.
The Justice Department, Trump, ever since he put Pam Bondi in there, has been interested in trying to do a combination of career purges and criminal investigations of essentially most people in law enforcement, primarily career law enforcement people who worked on the investigations, either of the January 6th attack on the Capitol or of the Mar-a-Lago documents case, or people who worked on the original Mueller report, which looked into Russian interference in the 2016 election. So there's, a large number of career law enforcement people in the FBI and in the DOJ who worked on those matters. In Jack Smith's particular case, he was a career prosecutor. He was not a political appointee. He did have some experience working in international criminal prosecutions related to anti-democracy movements in foreign countries, and that may have contributed to why he was the civil servant that was tapped by Attorney General Merrick Garland to be the special prosecutor that would head up the criminal investigations into Donald Trump relating to both the stolen documents, which wound up at Mar-a-Lago, and in terms of the role that Trump might have played in fomenting the attack on the Capitol that occurred on January 6th of 21. So what you really have is a career civil servant prosecutor who was assigned to a particular case and then worked the case. And he's being criminally investigated for that now. And I don't know how much more I could say about that, but what else do you want me to say about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, from certainly coming at this from the political side, I mean, this is very much, very much in line with Trump and wanting to settle scores, et cetera. I think where I'm kind of interested, in your perspective. I mean, Biden on his way out, and this was certainly controversial, even with a lot of Democrats, but pardoned a whole bunch of people preemptively, and expecting things very much like this.
Yeah.
I'm making gestures. I feel like this should be a video medium, but at any, my hands are all over the place. But I think this was something sort of to be expected. I guess sort of the question here, is there again, kind of in line with something we talked about in the main show, how much of this is performative, and is there like actual legal exposure here for Smith or Obama? I mean, there are folks out there that want to indict Obama over this and such, and that's probably unlikely. Would be, I think, even some top Republicans are admitting that, but is there any actual exposure that these folks have? I mean, certainly you can kind of indict a ham sandwich, I suppose, if you have the will. But is this kind of a real legal thing, do you think, or is this just sort of political posturing to uh, you know uh,
Leading a business today means constantly adapting. On the Executive Insights podcast, brought to you by AWS, global leaders share how they're making tough calls, testing bold ideas, and putting innovation into practice, generative AI included. If you're looking for real stories behind what's working, this is it. Subscribe to the Executive Insights podcast today, available now on all major podcast platforms.
do something? I guess
Well,
we can
it
think
just
about what that
it
something
depends.
is.
It depends what you mean by real, because it is absolutely real that Jack Smith is going to have to deal with this, and it's going to be a real ordeal.
Right.
It's not real that he could be convicted of anything. There's no on the facts. There's no exposure. I think on the law, some of the allegations against him could state violations of law, so he's not going to be able to get it thrown out right up front on the grounds that everything he's accused of, even if he did it, would all be legal. But
I mean, what sorts of laws? I mean, this is probably a tenuous connection, but I mean, I've been very unclear from the public statements, at least. What, I know what they're mad about, but in terms of what laws that would break or anything, I've been tremendously unclear what
well,
that might be.
yeah, so it would all be within the broad frame of obstruction of justice, right? That so the idea would be that a prosecutor essentially planted evidence on a suspect, and so that would be a form of obstruction of justice. And so that's the kind of things he's being accused of, and it is true that if a prosecutor knowingly and intentionally plants or falsifies evidence in order to try to convict a suspect based on evidence that's known by the prosecutor to be false and it's planted on the suspect, that's a crime, right? So that's the kind of
Mhm.
stuff that he's up front being accused of. But I think there's no factual basis to think that anything like that ever happened. And so in that sense, I think there's no bona fide legal exposure here to a conviction. But I think he can't just like go to court right now and say quash this investigation, because the things that they're investigating wouldn't be crimes, even if I did them, which is sort of the standard at this early stage. Like if they're accusing him of things, and they're looking into it, then he can't really cut that off right up front.
Well, I'm sorry to say that I have to pause both Justin and Ken right there, because that is the end of the supporters exclusive midweek show. And if you like to have access to the rest of Ken and Justin's conversation, all you have to do is become a member of the Politics Guys. And there's so much more that you get than just this. You're going to get things like completely ad-free episodes of the main shows. You're going to get the full bonus show. You can get things like access to our Discord, where you can interact with me and others, Trey, with all kinds of questions. So I'd really appreciate it if you became a supporter of the Politics Guys, and it just takes a couple of minutes to do it. All I need you to do is to head down there into the show notes and click our link to Patreon. You can also head to politicsguys.com/support and find your level of support. If you've got questions or comments, you can always email us at mail@politicsguys.com. It's always helpful when you subscribe, rate, and review. And I would appreciate you sharing this episode and all others on your social media feed if it speaks to you. As always, I want to give you a shout out to our executive producers, who are Wilmer Marino, Daniel Toe, Ryan Beasley, Don Oglesby, Derek Schmidt, Dakota Heath, Jason Chrysler, Dave Dean, Jeremy Larson, and Brian Matza.
This podcast is part of the Democracy Group,